Welcome back to all inspiring chefs, cooks, and everything in between alike. This is Griever, your guys' host as always. This is my bar, the place I'm always at, and this right here is technically Shokugeki no Soma. So let's get cooking, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, Shokugeki no Soma, the weekly Shonen Jump series, it ended at chapter 315 very abruptly, very just boom, and it was a very cliffhanger ending and blah, blah, blah. And as an ending chapter to a series, the chapter itself was fine. As I said, I did both a live stream and a actual behind the bar reviews for it. If you haven't seen that, go check both out. But at the end of that, we got an announcement that Shokugeki no Soma, in a 3-part mini-series, we had no idea what it meant by 3 parts. Is it 3 chapters? Is it 3, like, big 75-page chapters? Was it, like, there was no indication of how big they would be. Now we're starting to see what they are. But in Giga, which is the monthly series for Jump, right? And I thought we would actually not see this till the following month, but apparently we're seeing it right now. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see it, and I sat there and went, okay, all right, I can roll with this. Let's read this, right? Le Dessert, Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 1, Le Dessert. But it's a much shorter chapter than I thought. So this whole 3-part thing, this seems to be not a spin-off necessarily, more of an epilogue mini-series, but I am struggling to see how in 2 more chapters after this, everything's going to be wrapped up like they could have used these 3 chapters to do so. And also the length of the chapter seems to be rather small. Like I was expecting about 35, 40 pages, and we did not get that at all. So let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Because here, chapter 1, right? A lot of information, like, just right off the bat and stuff. But I gotta say one thing. There's this beautiful color spread and stuff, and they have this little, like, chibi version of Arena and everybody talking, and everybody talking about how, well, Shokugeki no Soma is over, but this, that, and the other thing, right? And they do that little comedy thing, and then we see Soma show up with dessert and Le Dessert, and we see this big color spread of all the girls, right? And, of course, they're in various states of undress with syrup and chocolate and cake and whipped cream and everything, covering all the important bits, right? My problem with this is that right here, the art is kind of lacking for me. This color panel makes them all seem very, not as sensual, I guess, as previous work has been. Like, I found the bust sizes were greatly reduced. And I found that the I just didn't think that this is were they having an off day? Was their heart not too much in it? Because right here, this color page right away sets me up for the art I'm going to see for the rest of the chapter, which to me is lacking drastically in comparison to chapter 315 or even before that. That's just me, guys. What did you think? I mean, it still looks like the characters, and it's still drawn okay. But it's definitely not top-tier art that I've come to expect from our Shokugeki no Soma mangaka. So, that being said, that might just be a nitpick, and that might just be me. We jump right into it, and we see that we do have a time jump, and it doesn't seem to be the classic shonen 5, 10, 15-year time jump, and everybody's married, everybody has kids, everybody's moved on to greater things. It's simply the jump between, like we've gotten, almost like we're just jumping into the next arc. And we have... they have all become 3rd years. Now, we start off with Megumi here, and she simply explains that, okay, well, here's what happened. Arena won. And a lot of people, like myself included, I was just kind of like, and we didn't even see her dish. We don't know if Mana liked it. We don't know if, I was just like, and what did Mana think of the, like, what? And so, did she make a dish that had never been seen before on Earth? We don't know, and we don't find out this chapter. It's implied, and we can assume later on down the line, but for the most part, this felt very lackluster. Like, the cliffhanger ending was like, oh, what a great setup. Unfortunately, the series is over, and I was like, that's not a good way to end your series. Then we had this opportunity here, and it's just like, boom, you tell me you couldn't have just added this 1 more page of epilogue, like 3 more pages of epilogue at 3:15, you know? Honestly, if they were just going to do this, right? Because in my live stream, which once again, guys, go check that out, both the live stream and the behind the bar reviews for the ending chapter 315 are on my channel. And I said before that this pacing is okay only because of the announcement of having this monthly like continuation to wrap up loose ends, to fill in plot threads, to write a proper ending / epilogue, right? But if they're just going to rush this point, if they're not going to make a whole chapter, a whole 40-page chapter dedicated to them actually duking it out and having that final confrontation we wanted to see this whole time, then what was the point in not just adding? You telling me you couldn't have went to Weekly Shonen Jump and said, okay, yeah, I know this is my last chapter, but can I have 2 more pages? Like, honestly, because that's all it takes right here is 1 page tells us she won, and then the next page is their reactions. So you wouldn't even need 2 pages technically if they were just going to do that. That's just me, guys. I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt a little robbed by that. You know, I really do. And so Arena won, which I'm fine with. I was fine with either one of them actually winning. Does it make more sense for Arena's character to try to get her back to norm? Sure, okay. And of course, Soma got runner-up, and there was no 4th contender that we ever found out about. So that, okay. After that, we jump over and we see the fact that, okay, so we're in flashback territory. Soma gets back to the Polar Star dorm. His father's there. You know, Ishiki's there. Fumiko's there. And they're all like, you know, they got a banner and a party and serving food and drinks. And they're saying, you know, congratulations on getting 2nd place at the Blue. That still makes you the 2nd greatest. You know, that's nothing to sneeze at, you know. Now, a lot of people will tell you that a lot of people throw away their silver or bronze medals or stuff. Gold is what counts. Silver doesn't matter. It means you're number 2. You're not number 1. Some athletes feel that way. Some athletes are more confident and just like, hey, I've got a couple of golds and I've got a couple of silvers, you know. And sometimes I don't even place. You know, they're fine with that. It happens, right? In this case, I feel like Soma is the former in the case that silver, that he does not care about that trophy. He's got no connection to that. He doesn't look at it and go, well, I tried and I did my best, and I can always improve. I can always get better than this trophy. He doesn't look at it that way. I feel like he's the guy who would throw the silver medal away or not care about it or give it away, right? And we get that here because he's ranting and stuff, and he's all gloomy, and he's just like, you know, I wanted to win, damn it, I'm not good enough yet, I need to get stronger, and he's still doing it in classic Soma format, but he's just feeling that way. And Joshiro, I kind of like this because this is what some people have figured, and this makes sense to me, that, you know, Joshiro's kind of like, winning the Blue wasn't the point. The point was for you to save people, to help Arena through her times and do all that, like their whole plan. And once again, I believe Senzaemon and Joshiro was aware of that plan because they were aware of what Azami was attempting. They were also aware of each other's plans. I feel like Joshiro knew that, and he just made this bet and did all this stuff with Soma to have Soma help in a very, like, just help the generation, help Arena at the end of the day, right? And he already did that. His skills are definitely nothing to sneeze at. And so Joshiro says, actually, you know, I've acknowledged you plenty. You're fine. You know, you can have the diner. Oh, you're not really listening, are you? Okay. So Soma could take over the diner, but he doesn't feel, he wasn't really listening, but I don't think someone would accept that. He wants to still beat his old man. He didn't meet the conditions that his old man set for him to take over the diner. So there's that too. We're seeing a lot of Joshiro in this chapter, but he's not really saying too much that is super interesting. Or I felt like this was going to be like dialogue heavy, and they were going to, like, you know, throw it all down our throats just in dialogue. Like, here's what happened with this character. Here's what happened with that character. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. For the most part, after that, we jump into the fact that before they became third years, Soma pretty much just made a note and said, yeah, I'm going to go study abroad for a while. I'm just going to go across the world and do what basically Megumi did, do what Tsukasa and Rindo did after they graduated and stuff, and do what Joshiro was doing at the beginning of the series. You know, try to find all these different methods in cooking and work for different people, right? Or whatever. And I was like, okay, and I expected to see Soma at the end of this chapter, but we don't. The spoilers, we do not see Soma in this chapter. So whether he has a new hairstyle or whatever, Who knows? Because Megumi does not seem to, Hayama does not seem to, Rio does not seem to. Alice's hair is still long. I forget if it was short, like if it is it longer than it was, because remember she did get her longer hair. It seems to be longer. She's got about a Reina level hairstyle sort of thing going, and I'm like, I like that. Alice looks nice. She looks good. But then we see that the Elite 10 are trying to all come together, and they got the two-way radios, and they're like, okay, the autumn election once again, and like we're third years and all that stuff, right? I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And we see the new members of the Polar Star Dorm and how Soma has revolutionized, because they, of course, they invite back a bunch of the, like similar in the series. Remember, they invited one of the previous generations to come by and, you know, sponsor some of the stuff, be some of the judges, that kind of stuff. We see Shinomiya, we see Tsukasa, we see Rindo, we see Ishiki and Kuga. We see some of the more popular of the Elite 10. We do end up seeing Megashima and all them too, right? And Saito and Nene, and they all have some different designs. Megashima looks a little different, and Saito cut his hair different. Now he looks more like Ichigo at the end chapter of Bleach sort of hairstyle and stuff, right? So some of the characters did change their looks, and I'm happy, and some stayed the same. And I'm like, well, it's only been a year. Like, even if the Blue took place in the middle of their second year, which I think it sort of did, but sort of near the end, this is only the autumn election of their third year. So they wouldn't change super drastically, right? So I don't mind that some characters stay the same. Mostly it was the Polar Star Dorm characters, the background, the side characters, all their hairstyles are different. But for the most part, a lot of the main characters seem to not really have changed very much. It's brought up that Shinomiya, we finally get this information. And doesn't his hair look kind of weird in some of the panels? Once again, I can't show it, but this is what I'm talking about. Some of the panels in this chapter seem to be, the art style seems to, it's nothing to do with when they do the comedy route with the, you know, the chibis and the whole, like, you know, that anime type of comedy effect, right? I had no problem with that, but even in the nicer shots and stuff, when it's not like a full page of one of them, it seems that the art style itself seems to be lacking a couple times. Like, why is Shinomiya's hair so poofy in one of those panels and stuff like that? Like, it just seems to bother me a little bit that the art quality seemed to drop just a little bit, and it's only an extra 5-8 pages, so I don't really see why. We do find out that Shinomiya did, in fact, this is one of the only things we do find out, is he did get his 3-star WGO for his Japanese restaurant, in his restaurant in Japan, and he's a 3-star, 3-time whatever, and that's really, really cool. And apparently Tsukasa and Rindo both work at the Japan restaurant that he opened, so that's really, really cool, you know, because he turns and said, Tsukasa, Rindo, you guys, you know, you're still employed, I'll even pay you, you know, sort of idea. And that's pretty cool, because Shinomiya is, once again, I felt like him or Ishiki should have been at the Blue. I feel like a lot of these characters should have been at the Blue. We see them all here, and they weren't there, but whatever. Now, the rest of it, as I said, we see that Shinomiya and everyone is talking about how, because we're seeing the autumn election, and we see these two new characters, you know, one that's more like, seems to be like a Goku and a Vegeta type of personalities, you know, one's cocky and arrogant, like, my blood's boiling, I'm fired up for a fight, and the other one's like, can't disappoint you guys, gotta do it, happy-go-lucky sort of idea. Seems to be maybe a Luffy Zoro, maybe, you know, something like that. It seems to be that these are the two new members of the Polar Star Dorm, they're cheering them on and stuff, and they seem to, everyone ties their, it's become a big fad, is tying, like Soma did with his headband sort of idea, you know, his towel, whatever. And some people even mention, because if you notice, Rio also does the same thing with his flame bandana, right? And people even said that actually some people are actually copying also Rio with his flame one. So isn't that cool? And Rio's like, I don't really care about that. But nonetheless, apparently they've broadened the horizons. They've opened up Totsuki. The administration went up. I mean, think about it. Second place at the Blue, the biggest cooking competition in the world. And he was just a diner cook. He's also the member of the Elite 10. During his second year of Totsuki, he became the #1 Elite 10 member and stuff like that, the leader of the Elite 10. And there's just a lot, and he was just a diner chef. So they kind of opened the gates. There was a lot more transfers. It's not that they're more accepting, and I guess Arena had to beat them down about it, like all the people saying, oh, we're opening up to the riffraff sort of idea, and then she's like, I don't care, and all that went down just fine, because they talk about, Shinomiya especially talks about how, you know, he kind of changed things, and this university, I think it's more Reina brings this up, is that he can't be the only one who changes. When he comes back, he's got to see that we've adapted and we've evolved as a school, as a community as well. We haven't just stayed the same. Because remember, it was always about an elitist sort of attitude, and he kind of shook that place up by being just a diner chef. Now, that's not really that fair to say, because he was also trained by, still in my opinion, the best chef in the verse. He was still trained by Asura, the demon chef himself. So, there is that, you know. I mean, you just can't deny that part of it. But nonetheless, this is a pretty cool way to. Well, I mean, we're going to jump into the later half of the chapter, because after this, after everyone discusses how he changed things and how he's moving forward and how he's always trying to do new stuff, and we get that little bit of background, as I said, about Shinomiya, and they're starting the fact that Soma has changed things. These two kids, I guess, are from restaurant diners, family-owned diners and restaurants and stuff, and they've opened because there's just so much potential that they were looking at. They had such a small group that they only looked to, when clearly Soma proved that, you know, you can expand that search, and there's hidden gems everywhere, sort of idea. The jewel generation, the hidden gems. So that being said, the whole diamond in the rough thing, Soma was one, so they're finding more, and I guess these two are up and coming and are pretty good at what they do, I guess. So, and I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Then after this, we jump over to Arena and another side of things, you know, because she's kind of fuming mad, and we're going to talk about the haircut. Yeah, so the haircut. Now, maybe I'm not one to talk about hair, as you guys can tell. Like, you know, my hair is not ever, it's strawy, it's not full, it's kind of, you know, I got, unfortunately, I didn't get my father's nice, luscious hair. I got, you know, my mother's, which is, you know, thinning and all that kind of crap, right? Not going bald, guys, just, you know. So maybe I'm not the one to be judging someone's hairstyle, especially since I'm not very current or anything like that. But no. This is like the second, this is not worse than cut bangs on characters. Let's look at characters like Elizabeth, let's look at Taizai. Gila and Elizabeth getting their hair cut bangs is just a travesty. And those are the two recent ones that still stick out for current ones, and I'm just like, no, not like that, right? So, yeah, this is the second, this isn't as bad, not as bad, but the whole, like, if it fell straight down, do you guys remember what's her name? Now she's got long hair in the Polar Star dorm. I always forget her name, but she's best girl out of the Polar Star dorm characters, right? She's got the longer hair. Right now, it's darker, whatever. She's one of the side characters, right? And I'm very bad at remembering their names, so sorry for that. But she's showcased in the chapter and stuff, and she's standing with the other two, and that's fine. She's got her long hair back, right? When her hair was cut this length, it still went straight, but it went out sort of idea, right? Doing this whole cone shape, this ball shape thing, that's not for me, guys. I know I'm nitpicking here, and I should just move on to what's important in the chapter. But to me, this is important. Or, you know, because for me, as I said before, Arena's character, like, personality, flip-flop, 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 in the last 15 chapters of Shokugeki no Soma was a travesty and an insult to her character and her character development as far as I'm concerned. Now you're taking away her character design and making her worse. I'm just, like, how many times do you want to just jab it in there and be like, you want to like Arena, don't you? You really want to like her, but we're just going to keep twisting that knife to the point that you can't like her that much. And I'm sitting there like, are they trying to push me to like Megami or something? Like, are they trying to push me? They take Rindo out of the equation for the most part, for no good reason. And then they push Megami on us like crazy. And they warp Arena, and then they cut her hair. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but like they clearly do not want me to enjoy or like Arena. Not like I used to. Not like before Regiment du Cuisine. I'm before the last arc, but after Regiment du Cuisine, everything was grand. She was a great, solid character, and then they just wanted to, just jab, punch in the gut sort of idea. And so yeah, not a huge fan. Apparently she's frustrated because she's been emailing Soma trying to get a response on it. Are you coming back this month, that month, the other month? He's not responding. He's like, you have responsibilities as the first seat of the Elite 10. I know that you got this, blah, blah, blah. And she's fuming mad, right? Then Megumi just goes, well, whatever. And she says, well, hey, we're all getting together because Shiki and other people are in town. We're all getting together to have a meal. Do you want to join Arena? Sort of idea. And Arena's like, I can't tonight. I gotta cook something for my grandfather and my mother tonight. And he goes, I'd love to refuse them, but if it's my mother, I can't be helped. I'm like, oh, no. Stop with that knife, people. Stop it. I liked Arena. What are you trying to do to me? You're not making the character likable. You're making her worse. You're making her an archetype. And it's just annoying because I'm sitting here and I'm reading that and I'm like, so what's changed from this woman who abandoned her children, her child and her family and her husband, and then was a total, let's just use the term, she was a total bitch to her daughter, to everyone, to basically went dark side of the force, like, yeah, these noirs, they should all be arrested for crimes against the world, but yeah, I'm supporting them. Superhuman ability is the only way. She's got an elitist attitude, got no faith in her daughter. I mean, she won the blue, but once again, that was done up in a quick, oh yeah, so, Soma lost, Reina won the blue, she went home with a penis-shaped trophy, and that's the end, right? Like, what? Like, all that's wrapped up so quick, and now we have no reaction. We don't know what Arena cooked. We don't know what Mana thought of either dish. We don't know, and now Mana seems to have a change of heart sort of idea. That we should have seen, and her breaking down maybe and going, I was wrong the whole time. I wallowed in despair with the God tongue. But you, because of the presence of the people around you, and especially that man, pointing at Soma or something, you have surpassed something that I thought was impossible, that the God tongue was a curse. You have beaten that curse of what it is. We never get that. That's all we needed. Like, it would have been a last-minute character change, but at least it would have made sense. Now, all of a sudden, she's a caring mother? What? And Arena's totally forgiven her for her childhood, for everything, for, just because she sits there and says, Arena, let me taste some of your cooking. I'm like, yeah, I get it. That's what you wanted. That's what you wanted. But it feels undeserved because we don't see it happen. Like, think about it this way. If you had a character, right? Take any series. And I got it. Perfect. Okay, let's take One Piece. Big series, right? Or let's take Dragon Ball Z, another big series. So, Goku and Vegeta, they fought and Vegeta won. You wanted to see that? No, we're just gonna assume it, and they're gonna sit down and reminisce about it. And Vegeta and Goku have come to terms with that Vegeta's stronger. But we don't see the fight. We don't have an indication there was gonna be a fight. And done. Or One Piece. All of a sudden, Roger comes back from the dead. No explanation. Luffy defeats Blackbeard off screen. No explanation. Shanks turns evil with no reasoning. And we never get an explanation. Like, you guys wouldn't be happy with those things. So this is why I'm not happy here. You need to, some things, especially a manga. A manga is an art style. It's pictures. This isn't a book, where, and you can imply things, but it's all about showing us rather than telling us. That's the point of comics and plays and manga and all these things. Things with visuals are meant to be visually shown and enjoyed. You're supposed to, what's the old saying? A painting or a picture says 1,000 words, right? Well, that applies here. You don't need to give us 1,000 words when you have the picture. So, but I'm really upset at how much they want me to, like, dislike Arena and just dislike her and dislike how this is going because, and now we're going to get information that honestly, I really, do I want this information? Yes, but if we spend a whole chapter on it, I'm just going to sit here and be like, there are more pressing issues for the ending of this series than knowing how Joshiro met Soma's mother. That Do I want that information? Of course I do. But I want to see an actual ending to Shokugeki no Soma. That is more relevant than anything else. Anything else, in my opinion. So, yeah, so we see that she's like, it can't be helped, can't be helped. So we jump right over from there, and we see that Joshiro is also joining Suzuman and Mana and stuff like that. And so she's going to cook something, and I guess she enjoyed it. And they're having a bit of a rivalry thing. Like, I've got my bucket ready if it tastes terrible and rains. So they're having a playful banter back and forth sort of idea. Sort of like what Joshiro and Soma get into. Like, if you don't serve it well, like, you know, I'll have to fix it for you and make something they can eat sort of idea. It's like, just you watch, Dad. I'll make something to make you shut up sort of idea. They're having that kind of thing, and I'm like, that is, once again, I've already ranted about it, but it's unprecedented, it makes no sense, and we haven't been shown, we weren't even told. We weren't told that Arena, she won, but was Mana satisfied? Did she, like, once again, was it a dish that had never been before seen on Earth? Because she didn't throw up Saibasia's dish, she didn't throw up 2 of Soma's dishes, as far as we know, and now she clearly didn't throw up Arena's dish. Yet, the 3 dishes beforehand were not dishes that had never been before seen on Earth. And so she was still her bitchy self. So this implies that she made one, but we don't even get to see it. And we don't see her reaction. And that's a problem, right? So, anyways, she makes something. Once again, we don't see it. I thought this was a cooking manga, but forget it. So we don't see that. And then they're outside, Hisako and Arena and Joshiro. Suzuman and Mana have already left or retired or whatever, you know, to sleep and stuff like that. And Joshiro says he's in a talkative mood tonight. So he's like, you know, you made a wonderful dish. You even beat my kid Soma, sort of idea. And she's like, thank you. He's like, could you tell me about, you know, Soma's mother, your wife? And he goes, yeah, I guess I'm in a talkative mood tonight. I'll tell you how I met her and stuff. So this is going to lead us into the next chapter next month. But with only 30 pages, like this was like 28, 30 pages, which I expected more, with only the 30 limited pages, less than 30 pages, and they tried to wrap up a few things at the beginning, but then they slowed down, and now they're going to tell us this, and this was implied in the Le Dessert announcement, that we're not going to necessarily follow every, like, we're going to have an epilogue, but we're also going to find out about those people in the past. So this implies we will see Joshiro, maybe Azami and Jin and stuff in their younger days, or when Joshiro was caught up by the storm, what he did afterwards, how he met Soma's mother and stuff. This is all okay to find, but once again, you've wrapped up a lot of stuff very quickly with quick side panels, and just, that's not cool. Like, 315, as I said in both reviews, live stream, you know, the live reaction and the Behind the Bar, was a good chapter, but a worst ending chapter I have ever seen of a series. The only reason I withheld judgment was because we were going to get this 3-part series, whatever that means. I'm assuming 3 chapters. And if that's the case and we get those 3 chapters, if they waste a whole chapter on just how Joshiro met Soma's mother, and then what's the next chapter? And if it's not, and that's only 30 pages, and then you spend the last 30 pages doing something like that again, what, like, I don't know, guys. I'm disheartened by seeing the treatment of what we got. I was excited, and I was happy, and I withheld judgment for 315 as a result, but you got to do better. I mean, like, really, you got to do better. I'm sorry. Not seeing what Arena made, seeing the final confrontation, seeing the Shokugeki, seeing how Mana and Arena's relationship changed as a result, knowing that information is much more important than any backstory detail we get. That's just flat out. And this is not relevant anymore. So I'm hoping they don't waste too much time on it. I'm like, am I interested to know this? Of course I am. But if you have something like, as I pointed out an example, of Goku versus Vegeta off-screen, and they just talk about it and we never see it, and then you want to focus on how Roshi met friggin', you know, Grandpa Gohan back in the day for a whole chapter, that's not what we care about. Am I interested to know that? Of course I am. I mean, I know we know that information. I'm just trying to think of something, right? You take in a side character and how they met another side character, and I'm not, like, I'm interested in that for the sake of knowing, but it's not as relevant. As I said, I keep harping on this point, guys, and I'm sorry, but of course, a longer chapter, longer review, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. I probably should have done this as a live reaction thing, and maybe I'll do the next couple as live reactions or something. I'm not sure yet. Tell me down in the comments below, would you like me to do a similar thing like I did for the end of 315? For the remainder, I'm assuming, once again, why are they calling it a series? It's 3 chapters as far as I'm aware. If you guys want me to do a live reaction, live stream for it, fine dandy. Let me know in the comment section down below. This has been Griever. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm kind of worn out here because I wanted to like so much about this. I was happy that we were getting a lot of information about a lot of characters. We see their new designs. We see how they've made out. We know Tsukasa and Rendo and Shinomiya, and that stuff is world building. That's important. But remember, it was told in just a few pages and a couple of panels and stuff. Joshiro and Soma's and Soma's mother could be told in a similar way to Azami and Mana. It takes up half of a regular-sized chapter, and then we move on. Now, that's to say, once again, we don't know how deep they're going to go into Chapter 2. Is it going to be a longer chapter, or will it be a shorter chapter? And will they take the entire chapter to tell the story? I'm assuming yes, and that's what's got me a little worried about what information we will get at the end of this. But that being said, guys, what did you think of the chapter yourselves? As I said before, comment, like, and subscribe. This has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for Shokugeki no Soma, Le Dessert, Chapter 1. Here's looking forward to Chapter 2. Hopefully it's tying up some more loose ends. And yeah, drink responsibly as always, guys, and keep cooking. We'll see you next time.